The third horseman of the apocalypse. And this is a very interesting prophecy because this is the only one during the seals where the creator of the universe speaks. So because that's that special, let's walk this through. Now what we have here is beginning in Revelation 6:5. When the Lamb, who we know is the Messiah, opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say. Now, the third living creature, we have four living creatures that hold up the throne room, hold up the throne. The Creator sits on the throne. And so the third living creature say, come. I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Verse 6. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures. Well, where's that voice going to come from? That's the Creator. Saying, a chonix, which is 1.92 pints of wheat for a denarius, 3.9 grams of silver. And 3 chonix, again, 1.92 times 3, of barley for a denarius. And do not damage the oil and the wine. Now, some will claim, if you try to read NIV, there's certainly one of them, that a denarius was the daily wage of a person. So, yeah. The first thing is that what is said, or is that what they are trying to add to Revelation? Because I think that's adding. You know, it says a denarius. A denarius is a certain amount of silver. You know, the Creator deals with, and what we deal with when we go back to the kingdom is we deal with, there's a certain amount of silver, and that's, again, silver is money. Now, let's also think of it, just in case they're right, let's also think about this. So basically 2 pints of wheat for a day's wage. Okay, whose day's wage? Each country has a different daily wage. Even in our own country, what daily wage are we talking about? Bill Gates' daily wage or my daily wage? One of those is substantially different from the other. So whose daily wage are we talking about? And just so we deal with it, I will tell you that I've ran the worldwide daily wage. I actually had to go back, check in every country, find out what their average wage was, run it that way. But again, realize that I think it's 40% of the entire world is living on $1 a day. So that's a that's a problem. So and again, most of the world is poor. So, you know, we in the United States have a certain level of things. So this doesn't work, you know, because is it dependent upon the actual person? Or is it dependent upon the country that we're running it in? Or is it, in fact, if we deal with it on silver? And then the next issue is where? Where is this actually being proclaimed for the price point? Now, you and I would immediately, I mean, is this the world price point? Is it the guy who works on the farm who gets it really cheap? Or is it the guy who actually, you know, after the truck drivers and everybody just deliver it to the grocery store and he buys it with all the markups? You know, the price in Russia is a lot more expensive than the price in the United States in something for food. They have a lot more markup. So, you know, where is this being done? And I will tell you that I would think, if it's going to be a biblical prophecy, I would think Jerusalem. That's where he's really looking, you know, that's where his eyes are really set. So I think that would be where it would be, the location for that price. Now, we also realize that silver goes up and down. You know, November 2018, it was selling for $14 an ounce. Now it's in the mid-16s, and sometimes it'll even flirt in the 17s. So obviously that changes. Here's where it gets interesting. If it's dealing with Israel, did you realize where Israel gets its wheat? Did you realize that 97% of the wheat in Israel is imported from 2 countries, Russia and the Ukraine? And Russia stopped shipping banned all exports of wheat in September 2018. And if that's not bad enough, Ukraine capped their total wheat exports at 16 million metric tons in August 2018. Okay? The world right now is on a worldwide shortage of grain seed. Ukraine is still considering totally banning exports of all wheat. So they're exporting only 16 million metric tons. And Egypt is asking for some, and Syria is asking for some, and Turkey is asking for some. Certainly Saudi Arabia is asking for some. All these other countries are asking for the wheat. And they've said worldwide we're only shipping out 16 million metric tons. Now, the amount of... do I need to go... No. Anyway, so 97% of the wheat in Israel is imported from two countries that are basically stopped shipping wheat. So what's going on with the price of wheat right now in Israel? I would think pretty high, getting high enough. Now you would think, okay, well, the United States could come in here and supply some. Well, the United States is having a problem with the wheat anyway because in March of this year, we lost 38% of the wheat to the Midwest flooding. We've had rain at the wrong times, and that's all it really does. Is just it rains at the wrong times for the harvest. And when it's raining when you're trying to get your harvest in, you're ruining your crops. You want it to rain during the season, but not during the time of harvest. Well, we're in what's called a grand solar minimum right now. It's changing our climate a little bit, getting things a little colder, or changing. This summer or this winter was warm here. It was incredibly warm in Russia. So again, it's just an interesting thing that it's changing that. Remember, it says don't hurt the oil or the wine. It doesn't say the grapes. It says the oil or the wine. So things that have already been harvested. Just an interesting thing that it may just kind of crash really at one time. And I said that, sorry, I said 40% of the world's population. Actually, it's 13% of the world's population lives on less than $1 a day. However, half of the world lives on less than $2.50 a day, and 80% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. So the point being, it doesn't take much stress for the majority of the world to be unable to afford bread. And of course, the daily income is a variable, depending upon who and what country you live in. So I think when it's talking about this price, the next question is it the price you pay at the store, or is it the price wholesale that the farmers are selling it for? I would think wholesales, that the farmer is selling it for, because that's the consistent price. That one, the other one's going to depend upon all this markup, and those things can go crazy. What can they get it for? If it's coming into Israel, what's the price that they're delivering it for at that, per ton, and we work it down to 1.92 pints. That's all we have to do for our chonics. So, let's see. I think that's, other than that, I can tell you, I've ran the numbers for all the countries to get their daily wage. It's just kind of wow. Again, this one's an interesting thing because, again, the Creator has decreed it, and if He's decreed it, then there's no way out of it. Now, again, these other things in Revelation, they're going to happen, but no decree from the Creator of the universe goes unrealized. It's a mandate.